Welcome to What the Flick's Breaking Bad conversation. 2 episodes left. I didn't think, Alonso Duralde, Ben Mankiewicz. Alonso, I did not think after last week and the energy around that single television episode that could be replicated, but it was exceeded.
Holy crap!
Yeah, holy crap! I mean, I'm sorry that I'm sorry that Brett and Gina aren't here because
I know
it's
so much happening.
Right, and it's a show that when I would rank my favorite shows, and I haven't really television, as we've talked about, it's been so great over the last 15 years since The Sopranos, and for me it goes like The Wire, Sopranos, and Deadwood, and I've always had Breaking Bad, in the top 10, unquestionably. Sure. But now it seems like I have to maybe think about adjusting this top 3.
Yeah, I mean here's the thing. We're taping a little later than usual today, so my thought originally was, I'm going to watch the show on Sunday night, and then I'll have time to watch it again on Monday morning, and sort of da-da. And when it came to this morning, I thought, I can't watch it again. I'm not ready emotionally to sit through that again. There's just so much shit that happens that is so intense and so crazy. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday. I needed a break from 38 hours of football, and I watched the East Coast feed at 6. And so I wasn't quite ready for it. It was still light out.
The sun was still up.
The sun was still out. And I stepped away from the Seahawks and the Niners, and all of a sudden you're like, oh Jesus, wait. So let's go over. So I thought what was first Ozymandias, which is a Shelley poem.
Right. Look upon my works, ye mighty, in despair, which is it's a poem about the sort of fleeting nature of the grandest of plans and empires, and we're certainly seeing that the Heisenberg empire is collapsing piece by piece.
So in his Collapse of the Empire, it was an amazing episode for Bryan Cranston, an amazing episode for Walt, because we see, first of all, interesting, they don't show anybody getting shot. They just say, okay, that gun battle ended, and as you might imagine, the guys who were outgunned had no shot. Right. And Gomi is dead, as we predicted. And Hank is shot
in the leg.
Right. And then they go to execute Hank, as you would expect they would. They've already killed one DEA agent. You can't leave one alive. And then Walt gets out of the car, is freed from the car, and pleads for Hank's life in this very real way. Yeah. And offers $80 million for Hank to live. It is not fully redemptive, of course, but it is a redemptive moment. Didn't you think?
Totally. No. Matt Zoller-Seitz, who's been doing great Breaking Bad recaps on Vulture, talks about how the sort of ongoing battle between Walter White and Heisenberg. Walter White is the Nebuchadnezzar chemistry teacher with the family and the moral conscience, and Heisenberg is the drug kingpin. And in this episode, you really sort of see the two of them almost acting in tandem, or at least, simultaneously not being either or. And so that's definitely a moment of Walter White, coming out and trying to keep Hank alive. But before long, when it comes to finding Jesse, he's back to Heisenberg.
It's instant. It's amazing because we get this. He's the protagonist in a show, and he was a very likable character for a bit.
Right.
Maybe even into the third season.
Which the prologue reminds us of, we should mention.
Right. We go back. We see Breaking Bad, like the first cook, and and then Rian Johnson, who directed it, has all that vanishes and is replaced then by that was interesting direction there. So he was the protagonist in a show that is enormously popular. So you want to like him. You always want to like him. And everybody who's watching the show has sort of had this there's this rolling realization that, wait a minute, he has broken bad. He's just bad. There's not even a balance.
Right.
He's evil. He risked the lives of children. He killed relatively innocent men, and so, but then as I was talking to Jesus from TYT beforehand, like that moment where he was willing to give up his whole everything, $80 million to save Hank's life, you're like, yes, Walt! Woo! And then they're like, yeah, Walt! And then he goes, Jesse's under the car. And you're like, and you're like, oh shit, yeah.
Well, Vince Gilligan always said that the intention of the show was to turn Goodbye, Mr. Chips into Scarface.
Well, yeah,
and that's the road we've been going down.
And then not only does he point Jesse out to be executed, then he does two things. One, they're like, Todd shows up, Meth Damon shows up and says, and a weird suggestion that they need to get information from him. We later learn that's not Todd's intent, but that Todd says that to him, and then Walt's like, yeah, whatever, torture him, I don't care.
Well, yeah, but the idea, like, we need to find out the information that he gave to these two dead guys who are not in touch with the rest of the DEA, so whatever he did tell them is buried with them in the middle of the desert.
His uncle's a Nazi. He's
but
not
yeah, whatever, sure.
So that works. We later learned that what Todd wanted Jesse for was to cook, because Todd wants to make the good meth so he can impress Lydia and settle down and be a happy married couple. But that was interesting and because and Todd's great line to Walt. Sorry for your loss.
Sorry for your loss.
Sorry for your loss. I mean, Todd is he's manipulative. He's not nearly as dumb as we think.
No.
And he is a sociopath.
Yes.
But then, not only does Walt say Jesse's under the car, when there's no, just this. In addition to that, he then, as he's leaving, he just
by the way,
I watched Jane die. I could have saved her and didn't.
Oh yeah. So that is the final straw. Like the only thing that Jesse didn't know about Walt. Now he does.
It's funny though. I love it. You're right. It is the final straw. But why on earth did we or Jesse or anyone else need a final straw? There were so many straws.
I know. There were plenty of straws. Plenty. Yeah. A couple of times in the episode, I think Hank says it to the Nazi, and then he says it again later to Skyler. The idea that you can take this money and create a new future, and you can be anything. And that's almost exactly what Jane says to Jesse when she's trying to get him to blackmail Walt and get all the money from him, if you'll recall.
I don't recall that. That's interesting.
When she's going to they have all that talk about, we're going to go to New Zealand and I'll become a bush pilot. Remember all that stuff?
Vaguely, yeah.
That's that same speech about like this money will make it possible to completely rewrite yourself. But as we have learned from, John Frankenheimer's Seconds and any number of other stories, it's like no matter what opportunities you have to reinvent yourself, you're still you, you aren't going to be any different, and you're going to make all the same fucking mistakes again.
Yeah, it was, and then though, so Walt has this wonderful, really, really powerfully acted moment about frantically handcuffed.
Yes.
Handcuffed, trying to frantically save Hank, and Hank, of course, realizing Walt being still, even at this stage, oddly out of his element around criminals.
Yeah, naive.
Right, naive around criminals. Hank's like, dude, the guy's gonna kill me. So I'm not gonna beg because I'm dead. But Hank does not give Walt an ounce of redemption. Doesn't say thanks, nothing. Just do what you have to do. And then Walt, though, a point that I miss. Sometimes I'm amazed that I have achieved any degree of sophisticated television viewing, because when Walt calls, he steals the bait. He takes Holly, right? He has to fight the knife fight,
right?
Where his hand gets cut by Skyler, and Walt Jr. has to break up a knife fight between his parents after finding out.
Walt Jr.
Oh man,
was breaking my heart.
So, and then Hank, just to punish Skyler, Walt, just to punish Skyler, steals Holly, right? And then when he calls and yells at Skyler and calls her a bitch and you didn't respect me and this is what you get, I'm like, why isn't he must, first of all, I'm like, how could he not know the police are on the phone? Spare me. and then if he knows the police is on the phone, why isn't he telling them that he tried to save Hank's life? And only later does it occur to me, oh, he does another good thing.
Right, exactly. That winds up being the family off the hook.
He's getting the family totally off the hook. So again, doesn't really make up for. I think I see Jesse under the. That's Jesse under the Chrysler 3300.
Going back to the desert, something that I think it might have been again Matt Seitz that pointed it out. The grimace on Walt's face when he is lying on the ground and they're digging up the money and they've just killed Hank is a lot like the face of the awful ceramic clown that we see Skyler wrapping up at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, really?
Which I thought was a cool,
that's interesting. That was probably
parallel.
Intentional. Yeah, he may not be reaching there. That was, so I somehow missed or didn't quite get in the moment, maybe because it was still daylight, what Walt was doing, and the tear, that he was. I really, apparently, I think his name should be Hank. They got the names wrong, but that Walt was crying, like that was a very, very, very powerful moment, and I think also a realization that it doesn't matter whether I make it clear that I tried to save Hank.
Yeah,
it might matter to Marie, but it doesn't matter. He does not know Marie is there,
right.
But it doesn't matter to anybody else. Like I've committed executable crimes.
Sure.
I have cancer. Two agents are dead. Whatever. It makes no difference.
All I can do at this point is get Skyler out of trouble.
Be so evil that that they couldn't possibly put this on Skyler.
Yeah, and make it look like that like to sort of paint himself as a sort of horrifying, abusive husband, which he kind of was in certain ways, but in a way that anything that Skyler might have done, she did purely out of fear and out of intimidation by him. So yeah, it's a brilliant
move. Do you think
Skyler
got that?
In the moment?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, she's got a lot to worry about there.
Yeah, I mean, she's thinking about
Marie
the baby, and
Marie realizing
it may not have dawned on her at the moment, but I'm sure at some point it will catch up to her.
When she realizes the baby is safe and at a fire station.
Now let's backtrack a bit, because then after all the stuff happening in the desert, then Marie comes to the car wash, which is a whole new bucket of crazy, because she's talked on the phone with Hank, so she is under the assumption that Walt has been arrested, Walt is in custody, and now it's time to spill the beans and make demands and tell Walt Jr. what's going on. And I've been saying this whole season, like I knew that Walt Jr. finding out the truth was going to be so devastating, and it was. I mean, they really made that moment as awful as it needed to be, and then to have it continue to spill over into the house, where A, they can't believe that Walt is there, and B, that it all goes so badly so quickly, where he's trying to hustle them out of there, basically to meet up with Saul's guy in the minivan to give them new identities, and Skyler finally just reaches her breaking point.
Yeah, that was a dramatic Three's Company moment. Like, you're like, no, find out that Hank's already dead and you don't have to do this. You don't have to tell your son. But of course they did. Yeah. I wonder who will play Saul's guy. Like, I wonder if wouldn't it be great if it were like Clooney?
I think better if we never see him, because he's such a mystery figure.
And they're prepared to skip stuff, so it doesn't need to see him. He's in the car. But interesting, like, key conversations completely skipped. Like again, we didn't hear the conversation of Walt Jr. being told.
Right. We come in.
Right. We just come in the middle, which I think was good. It was very effective. They've done that a couple times. I don't know. I mean, it was so one thing after another. I mean, again, we see Hank. You see Hank get executed. You see Jesse hauled away to get tortured. You have a baby kidnapped. Walt Jr. finds out. There's a knife fight between parents, where I thought for a moment Skyler's going to die.
Yeah,
she's going to accidentally fall on the knife.
I thought the baby was going to get stabbed. The knife is just going around. You're like, oh, put the knife down. That was, because at that point in the episode, clearly, like, all bets are off.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so much, yet it didn't feel like it went at a breakneck speed, but it didn't feel like dramatically, and from a storytelling point of view, it didn't feel like they were. No,
because it has earned it at this point.
Yes,
they have built up so much, his life and his lies and all the stuff going on, and his ostensible excuse for doing it for the family. We knew this day was coming, and we knew that when this day came, it was going to be this crazy. And so I think everything that happened on the show is earned by everything that's come before it, and the way that it's all been set up.
So we're one episode away from catching up to the flash forward. If we don't catch up,
if we don't catch up next week,
we
don't know.
Catch up next week, right?
We might have 2 episodes that take place, like in the now or whatever.
Where serious time goes by. I mean, not quite a year. We're past his birthday.
Right.
But what do we think? 9 months, something like that?
Yeah, it could be. The show. I know the timeline of the show is sort of hard to nail down, but yeah, it's the better part of a year for sure.
He's grown hair back. He didn't die of cancer. He's apparently doing okay, or stopped chemo, so maybe he is dying of cancer, of course. And he's about to have this gun battle with people unknown.
Is it the neo-Nazis? Is that who the Rice is
just
for?
trying to get the money back? Is it
to get the money back, or is it as vengeance for Hank? Like, it's some sort of misguided.
Or are we going to get a moment where he realizes that Jesse is worth saving? Like, and is that possible? And I think it is possible. I don't know quite how we get there. I trust Vince Gilligan will get there
I guess,
authentically.
but even if Walt decides to save Jesse, I don't know how Walt can ever make himself redeemable in Jesse's eyes at this point.
Maybe he might not care. Maybe he might think, look, I'm going to save you, and I'm
Right.
going to, maybe he finds out that, like, it was okay with Walt if he gave Lilies of the Field, that's not what it's called, right?
Valley.
Lilies of the Valley to, Lilies of the Field, excellent, by the way.
Yes. Sitting buddy is me.
If he gives, that it's okay for him to poison Brock, but if he finds out that perhaps the family is in jeopardy, which is suggested.
Right, the photo is tacked up in the meth
of Brock
lab.
and his mother. Maybe that's just because they were staking it out before, but Jesse obviously is going to operate under the impression
that he better or
that they're in
else,
jeopardy, and maybe Walt will think, I can poison that kid, but they can't, and they'll and they'll kill him. I don't know.
Maybe this is all a big shootout with Todd.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the new meth kingpin now. He's the new Gus Fring.
Ooh, wouldn't it be great if Matt Damon played Saul's Saul's
minivan
driver?
guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The dad, because we know who the uncle. We don't know who the dad is.
Man, and Lydia obviously is coming back. I don't think, as I've said before, I don't think the checks can be a total. I guess they could be.
They could be a MacGuffin.
They could be a MacGuffin, yeah.